Recess bell has just rung there. Time to pack up your books and go out for recess there. So, indeed, Legion's class is in session. Take your seat as five great travelers come to meet. And so, with your pens and textbooks poised, say hello to your hosts, Jesse, Shawn, and Nostradamus toys. But in the world of mythos, there's heaps to explore, and so join them on their quest. There is also Dom and Eldor. Yes, come all ye factions from distant regions, as we discover the world of mythic legions. As once there was an age so far distant that only its stories remain. They tell of great peace and great battles, and legends where both good and evil make their domain. So join us as we learn of dwarves, centaurs, orcs, vampires, skeletons, and elves, and yes, goblins, men, and trolls. There is so much to know, so sit a while till the class bell tolls. At the Four Horsemen, a journey awaits, one and all, where you can create creatures and characters, both great and small, and summon your creation, be it minor, or grand, just like magic, from a spellcaster's hand. But be warned, and do not let a class be missed, lest you fall victim to the dark powers of Necronominus. Ooh.
Eldor, thank you as always for bringing us in with the epic intro.
We're not taking our seats now, we're out to play.
Yes. That is what tonight is going to be all about. So,
dibs on the slide.
I want the teeter tot for 4 so I can see if I can chuck everybody off.
Don't run in the holes now.
But we are joined by a very special, in this case, since Brick has not joined us this evening, it's almost a substitute teacher that we have in class tonight with Dom here to teach us a new fun way to play with our toys this evening that I am all amped up about.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm a very poor substitute for Brick. So much like a substitute teacher, I'm probably just going to roll in a cart with the VCR, flick on the video, and be like, all right, see ya. And when bell rings, we'll be good to go.
Well, that's just as epic because I always loved those days anyway.
Oh, you guys watch Cujo. I'll be outside.
I was just thinking that Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah. I mostly sit and read the Eternus Times these days. But
no, but thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Ever since we talked about it a little bit before, I was like, you know what, we've got to do this, got to have you on the show, got to bring you into Legions class so we can talk Legions.
Yes.
And you mentioned the game and I was just like, let's play this game because I watched one of your lives and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Gotta do that.
All work and no play, as they say.
Well, I mean, they're toys. We're supposed to be playing with them and having fun with them. So this is just an epic way to do that. Well, gents, real quick before we start seeing how each other's been doing this week, let's get a run through the chat, see all who's here, because this is a very unusual night for Legion's class and an even unusual time, too. Pretty late. So we had Anryu stopping by earlier tonight, jumping in, saying hello to everybody and stopping by. We have, figuratively speaking, John has joined us. Got a couple of misfits and hooligans hanging around out there in the chat, but always good to have it. Thanos Copter popping in to say hey, but mentioning he can't stay for a while. The beautiful Dawn Roberts has also joined us this evening for a second here. And we've got Cobweb in the house as well. And Duchess of Darkness has also jumped in, joining us. We have Adam from Highly Articulated, another wonderful, fine content creator out there on the YouTubes, joining in, telling us to play safe, but then it wouldn't be as much fun. All right. And speaking moistly in the chat, cringy for quite a few people out there in the world, but I love it. And Toy Connections is in the house as well. Always good to have you stopping in, Ken. Glad to see you, brother. Rolando Flores also here. Man, what an amazing group of people in the chat already this evening. And if I didn't call you out and you're here hanging out watching, definitely drop a line in the chat and we'll recognize you and pull you up. So, guys, how's everybody doing this week? I know we've all had a lengthy weekend of doing streams and everything else and having fun. How is everybody?
I'm just happy to be here, Oz.
Well, I'm glad you could make it. I know this is not our usual class time at all, but it's recess. It's meant to be unusual and fun.
There's always time for fun.
That's right.
Angelo.
And Shawn, how are you doing, sir? Missed you on the Frenzy Thursday.
It's deadlines. Plus, it's also my wife's birthday tomorrow, and we had family birthday stuff over the weekend, so I haven't really slowed down much. So I'm going to be probably the worst player tonight because number one, I was not able to keep up with all the messages in Instagram. Number two, it's just been that from last week to this week, I've just been holding on for dear life. So if I suck, I at least have some excuses. I have a parent report that I can bring back next time. So parental note, doctor's note, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, I think me and you will be in the same boat there, Jesse. It's been a rather hectic couple of months there, and I just got my cards all saved up there now to view in front of me. Forgotten about those, but yes, I have been on the old YouTube as much as I have been, but I did manage to get another wee review out there last week. So yes, and no pickups arriving as such. The last figure I got was this Erwit fellow there, and his second head to
Petorian,
to do whatever you wish, but this fellow's going to be for my Hudson tribute for the Gargoyles series there. So yes, still awaiting all these pre-orders that have been delayed and set back, and I've still got figures that are piling up because I've been busy doing other things, and now I've got to work through all that backlog to review, and yes, they soon melt up. So I might be a bit sort of behind the times there, but I used to play a little bit of D&D back in my youth there.
That's exactly what this was reminding me. And I've mentioned before how cool it would be to do an online gaming session where we get a bunch of people together and we stream like a virtual D&D game. And we actually just stream it. We're going to put it out there on our channels, have a go. Well, this is pretty close to that, and it remains so relevant because we have our toys to play with, too.
Yep.
So, wanted to give a shout out here to Ted Darkclaw from Helidope Toys joining us this evening as well. Also, check out his channel, Helidope Toys, where you can buy some much-needed toys from. All right, guys. Well, who got any of the con exclusives this weekend?
I can't budget this. It just comes out of nowhere, and I'm just like, it looks so cool, and it's just so green, glowy, evil. And there's also a Cosmic Legions line coming out, and there's also, and I'm like, I gotta have notice. I had to pass, sadly.
Yeah, it's a shame. I had to do so as well, but I'm still trying to get to PowerCon, so there will be hope for me yet.
I did not get any this weekend because I am going to PowerCon, so I already got mine secured when I got my ticket.
Beautiful.
Really good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm out of luck for most of this year based on how things are. We have other plans going on with the family right now, but I was really happy that last week it was, they were doing the tactics figures. And they tried billing my card, and I was $2 short So then they're like, well, it was declined. We'll get back to you. It took a while. I emailed them over the weekend, and I finally got confirmation. They took the money out now. My shipping is paid for, and I should have my figure soon. So that made me pretty happy. I got that going for me.
Excellent, because that's the next wave that's shipping out, right? Is
Yes.
the Tactics.
It's shipping right now. Yeah.
So I had the Orc there, the Tactics Orc on pre-order the Big Bad Toy Store, but that hasn't been no notifications on him yet. So I suppose you got yours through the main fellows there.
Yeah, I got it through the game, and then for me, it's really cool because I do not have an Attila or a Gorgo previously. So the fact that I'm getting the amped up 2.0 versions makes me pretty psyched to get those in hand. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Total sidebar. The dude Cobweb in the chat, is that Cobweb from the Marvel Comics? Is that the evil villain Cobweb? I'm totally curious if that's what he chose. Sorry.
It's actually a big play on his name.
Okay, got it. All right, cool. I was like, what a deep cut for a supervillain. Cobweb, man, that's awesome. Also, this game, if you liked Hero Quest, very, very borrowed from Hero Quest. And a couple other things that I'll pull up here too that aren't 5e. So yeah, Hero Quest.
Very cool. Very cool. Wanted to give the amazing Zazel a big shout out for being in the house this evening. Good to have you here, brother. Thank you for joining us.
Solid dude.
Absolutely. One of the best. And thank you for telling everybody to throw a like on the stream. Appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed to any of the legends that you see on screen right now, all of their links are in the description. Go check it out and grab them. As normally, Bud would be here and Bud would be dropping links, but I think he might be even a little busy this Monday evening. So, well, he's got to go look the villain up now that you brought him up. But yeah, definitely go do it. There's your whole new online persona for when you get your channel up and running. So, guys, are we ready to start playing this game here? Because I have been itching. Are we not ready yet?
I don't know. We probably need to get somebody competent here to run this thing, but yeah.
Oh, we're at a loss. Hillian Dread also jumping in with us here this evening, saying hey to everybody. He's been doing great work on his channel, posting several videos a week at this point, really working hard to build himself up. So please jump on and give a subscribe to Hillian Dread as he is building his channel.
Nice.
So as we have Eldor holding up his character, I have again put up my Headless Horseman with my scaphoid skull, as I absolutely love the look of that green skull on there.
Nope, wrong way. There we go.
Nice.
So I don't have a great way to display him while on camera, but I will have him here.
There we go.
Nice.
He's legit.
So on my channel, Toy Domination, we play with our toys. That's a big piece of what we do. And I love designing games. I've been designing games for like the last 10 years and not really understanding what to do with them. And then I was like, gosh, I really love HeroScape. I really love Flames of War. I love 40K, but I don't want to buy all those minis because I have all these toys. So I was like, instead of buying minis, why don't I take the things I love and make a game with those so I can invite normies over and trick them to thinking that we're playing a game. Really, we're playing with toys. And they're like, what are we doing? I'm like, these are G.I. Joes. I'm like, I know they're G.I. Joes, but it's also a game, so get your head around it. This is the first time that I've adopted a game into the 6-inch scale, and I was like, do I want a Marvel Legends game and a G.I. Joe game or a sci-fi game and a whatever? And I was like, you know what? I should just create a universal action figure game that you can pluck and put your IP or your custom characters and be like, oh, that fits this thing. I want a guy who has a healing factor, who runs around the blades coming out of his hands and has super senses. Okay, well, that card fits this. So that's the concept here, is that it's a universal or agnostic action figure game. So you guys are actually the second playtesters that are going to go through with this. We had a Marvel Legends playtest on my channel a few weeks ago. Highly Articulated is there. It was pretty fun. And now we're going to try it with some fantasy themes. So I took out the sci-fi stuff and just put in the fantasy one. So, all right. everybody has their characters all eagerly lined up. I love that you brought it. I've got the best proxies I could because though I have a lot of Mythic Legions, I don't have them all. So I don't have Ragnar, and I didn't get the Headless Horseman because, yes, they're really cool. But again, those were those obscuras. I'm like, I got to stay the path. I can't go obscure. I got to stay in the path here. So, okay. I'm going to introduce the characters and the players here really quickly. And then before the stream started, I gave them like a flavor thing, like, hey, fill out the back and just like, what's something in your history, in your past? What's something that why must you go on this mission? And hastily, everyone was like, oh crap, the back of the cards. I thought that would be the first thing everyone gravitated to because a lot of people like to make characters. Let me ask you all here really quick before you dive into the mechanics. How D&D or RPG do you want this to be? Because it's actually just a tabletop turn-based game similar to Heroescape with a little bit of flavor at your discretion. How D&D do you want it? Like middle? Middle D&D? Middle? Here?
Let's go middle to start.
The middle?
We'll go
okay,
middle
we're going
to
to start with the
start.
middle. All right, that's good. That takes a little pressure off me too. So, okay. My heroes. We're going to start getting this in here. You all have your characters. Let's go ahead and start with Oz. Who are you bringing to the fight tonight?
Well, I have chosen my Headless Horseman, subbed in my Scaphoid skull on him because I'm sorry, I like that like light leather,
Cool.
quick sword fighting. Plus, he's just like my absolute favorite toy of all right now. And I mean, he has a flaming jack-o'-lantern.
Yep.
Yes. Why would I not choose this toy?
And you will be playing the Blade Master, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the idea of this game is that you have action points, and those equate to a 6-sided dice. You could use a D6 if you want to, using 5s and 6s or 4 5s and 6s as hits, or I use these little mud dice, as they're called, and they're just skulls and shields. So we're going to use that because I hate math. And when you're doing public math, you're even dumber. So you'd think it'd be easy to add 1 and 6 or 2s, but it's terrible. So just skulls or shields. That's all I'm going with here. So your Blade Master has 6 action points on there. And on your card, you don't have to go into it now, but look on your card. There's things you can do. Moving takes away one of those actions. So now you're left with from 6 to 5 dice. Look in your actions. As you complete an action, you're eating up your dice. So you have to do a little bit of economy of action there to figure out what you're going to spend. We'll get into that more into the turn, but that's the general concept here. You've got a certain amount of points. They're tied to the dice you're going to use. Okay, let's just go with Eldor. Who have you brought to this fight?
Well, I brought Various here, so I'll just introduce him. Hello, everybody. I am Various. You might also recognize the voice as Optimus Prime.
Oh,
Today, I am Various, and I woke up in the middle of nowhere, as you do. And I was soon picked up by a great stable master. And he took me and my fellow Autobots to the stables to work and train the horses. And we also trained in use of the bow and the sword and the spear, as you also do.
Excellent. And I'll put you on the spot. I gave you the setting beforehand. If you haven't looked at that, it's okay. We'll just slide right past it. Don't worry about it. But do you have a personal quest?
Oh, I just, I really just go wherever I'm needed.
Excellent.
Or wherever I'm called.
That works. And then Shawn, who are you playing? Go ahead.
A hand for hire, if you will.
And then Shawn, who are you playing tonight?
I am going to be Rhaegor.
Nice. And then you admitted you hadn't filled anything into the back, so that's okay. You're going to be playing the Bruiser fighter, though.
Ooh, I like this.
Okay. So all you have to have at the minimum is your imagination, some good spirit in order to play, and then that card. So do you have your card handy?
No, I do not actually. I'm looking at
good.
yeah. I'm
Yes,
hard.
I
Like I
was,
told you, it's been that
unprepared
kind of a week.
there myself.
So.
Okay, Jesse.
Yes.
Who are you playing tonight?
Oh, I will be playing Thistlethorn, the woodland goblin, aka Fuzzmonk.
My son's favorite character.
Oh.
And then you'll be playing the Agile Fighter, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And then have you selected your character's quest? Do you have a personal quest that you're on?
I filled in the middle and the left side of the card.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay. So we'll go to the bonds once we actually start getting into the game there.
Okay.
Okay. Oz, if you will pull up my other camera here, I'm going to transition this one very quickly.
And well, this
So-
is not what I wanted for. Let's see. I don't think it's got the right camera here.
That's okay. If you just tap the solo mode in the top left, it should be able to zoop it up there.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
All right, there you go. Okay, so here are my proximities to your characters. I also represented Brick. There he is. And you're probably wondering,
Something
Oz,
there.
like, hey, wait a minute, there's not a flaming head guy in here, but you have a special item that you're equipped with, correct?
Yes, sir.
What was that item?
Oh man, here it is. I get special items. I have the cursed skull. So,
Yes.
this is a worn item. Special when worn. Wearer is immune to any fire damage, but their head is consumed with flames.
Let me get this head on here. I don't have the Headless Horseman, but I do have Jack-o'-lantern from Marvel Legends, so that is going to have to be your proxy. All right. So
It
we have
works well.
Thistlethorn, Ragnar, and I can never remember the centaur's name. Help me out, Eldor.
Various there, sir.
Excellent. All right. And then if you could switch to the top-down camera, I will show you what your setting is. There we are. All right. Gentlemen, you have arrived to a dead baron's ruined keep. There are corpses piled outside, are as dead as his lands. You kick in the door and enter in immediately. In front of you are two occult warriors standing at the table here. Now, you'll notice there's plenty of items in the room, like a trunk, a dagger on the table. All those things are interactive with, you can interact with, and that takes one action. To the back of the room are two small imps, and then to here there are three thralls, as well as a door. This is this orange panel here that remains closed. Thistlethorn, you recognize the dark goblin to the back of the room. Why are you furious that he's here?
Years ago, I made a mistake. I missed a detail that cost a friend his life, and that jerk is the one who killed him.
As you face off across the room, he lowers his crossbow, and this is the most voice acting I'm going to do for this. And he goes, his name is Skulker, and he recognizes you immediately. And he goes, "You came a long way to die, Thistlethorn." Jesse, Thistlethorn, you have the first move. You have 6 action dice. Now, movement is arbitrary. Simply moving anywhere costs 1 action. So you don't have to worry about measuring. Just say, I move, and tell me where to go, and that spends 1 of your action dice.
Okay. I will run up to, was it Skulker?
Yes.
I'll run up to Skulker.
Thistlethorn dashes across the room. Excellent. You have 6 action dice. You have spent 1 of them. What are you doing?
Okay. I'm going to attack with my sword.
Okay. You have several actions available to you. Now, if you'll note, before you make these decisions, you have 1 as your defense. Most of you, except for the tank fighter, have 1. That means you only get 1 dice to defend when somebody attacks you. So you can pool your dice and reserve them like a coward and use them for defense to add to that number, or you can spend them on your attacks. Just so you understand, you can hold those for defense.
I can hold them for defense?
You can, absolutely. If you're feeling timid and you're worried about taking a lot of damage, you can hold back some of your action dice in order to add to that 1 defense dice you're going to roll when somebody attacks you.
Okay. I'm going to
you switch to my camera, the small camera?
Yeah.
Because I misread this card. Can I have made that a rapid strike, which is the free move and 2d6 to attack?
Of course, this is tutorial. So what he's doing is, because he's an agility fighter, he gets a free move, and then he automatically attacks with just 2d6. So instead of spending 3, he's just going to roll 2d6s here. Okay. And then I'm going to roll these here real quick. That is 2 hits. Skulker only has a defense of 2. He blocks 1. He takes 1 hit. He only has 2 luck, so he's at half damage right now.
Okay. And I have 4 dice left?
Correct.
All right. I guess I'll just attack him again with the...
Do it. Draw his blood. All right.
Yeah.
Kill him.
Do it. Do it.
So is there a regular attack, or is it just the targeted strike?
So anytime you want to do a regular attack, it's 1d6.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
Now, you also have, hint, your targeted strike, which is a 2d6. And then if you look to your agility, you get those 2 modifiers added in. So that's 4 dice. Hint.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that.
All right. Everybody else pay attention, because I'm using Jesse here as the brave playtester who's going first for everyone else. All right. You rolled 2 skulls. Skulker's going to roll. He is down. I want you to describe your finishing blow on this foe.
All right. So Thistlethorn raced across the room, seeing his hated enemy who killed his friend years ago, and he makes a quick strike as he approaches, and then takes another hit and drops the goblin as he swoops up from low to high across his chest, gutting him.
So vicious. I love it.
I've been listening to Critical Role for like 3 months.
They do a great job describing the finishing blow. Oz, can you go top cam, please?
Yes, sir.
Man, such a demanding guest directing the host. Look at that.
Hey, man, I'm all about it. Direct me any which way you need so we can see the playing field.
All right. Your 2 agility dice are free because that's your skill. You're very agile. So, of course, you naturally get to add that. So, have you kept track of how much dice you've used so far?
I used 3.
Correct. You've got 3 left, sir. So, at your right in front of you as another one of these, let's call it an impish fighter. You also have what looks to be a downed knight who's quite dead, with some loot around him. There's also a treasure chest behind you could run back to. If you wanted to turn your back on an opponent and run to that treasure chest, you could.
No, I
don't know. Could be treasure.
I got the bloodlust going up. I'm gonna go for the imp with another targeted strike.
Nice.
Save some for the rest of us, Jesse.
Thistlethorn is. I didn't know Thistlethorn was like a shark. He's tasted human flesh, and now he has to have more. All right,
he's more Rocket Raccoon than Thistlethorn.
Yeah, there you go. It's not quite showing up on camera, but those are 2 skulls right there. And he's only going to roll 1 defense. And he misses. He's a minion. So much like the old 3.5 or 4 rules, minions in D&D had all the same stats as heroes or characters, monsters, but only 1 hit point.
Oh, good grief.
He is quite slain. Blood splashes against the wall there, and your nostrils are assaulted by a horrible stench. What is it? What does it smell like? This bleeding out minion.
Oh, sour mayonnaise.
Oh,
I threw open my mic.
His worst
right.
enemy.
Now, for a turn-based game, you notice there's no reaction. There's no rolling initiative. It goes one side, then the other, then one side, then the other, then one side, then the other. So it is now the villain's turns. Now that Thistlethorn has spent... Oh, I'm sorry. You have one more die, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. You have one more dice left.
I'll go into like a defensive position.
Okay, so you're going to add that to your defense.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I'm going to leave that next to your character there. So that's the other thing with the game is the dice. I took this idea from Relic Blade, so nothing I've done here is original. It's all borrowed from like 6 different games. But Relic Blade leaves the dice next to the minis, so you can tell what they have left to do. So, okay, so the villains not really liking this. One of the occult guards here sees this little runt run across the room, and he goes, "Oi!" And he turns. Unlike miniatures who have bases, they do not. And he tries to attack Thistlethorn. So the occult warriors, footmen, have a 1d6. So he has 3 dice. He spent 1 in order to conduct a movement. So he's rolling 2 attacks. That's 2 hits. Thistlethorn, your normal defense is what?
It says defense plus agility dice free.
Oh my gosh. So you're going to get this. You're going to get this, a 1, and your agility dice. So you're rolling 4 because you conserved one of your dice. That doesn't count. Fell out. Yeah, you absolutely blocked that. So Thistlethorn is able to immediately pivot around.
He's just snarling with the anger and adrenaline from defeating his hated enemy.
Coated in goblin blood.
he's a ferocious chipmunk.
Hero party. Since I thrust Jesse in there unannounced, I will let you all decide who is taking the next action from your party.
Well, I got to roll up on this because I can't let Jesse go in here alone. I got to help my boy out on his quest.
All right.
Indeed.
All right. So I'm going to spend 1 action and I want to roll up towards this table here, jumping on it. Got to have the high ground.
And you have a total of 6 dice as a Blade Master, correct? All right.
Yes.
So you spent 1. You have 5 dice remaining there.
All right. Looks like there's this little candlestick that's kind of behind me here, right?
It's setting you ablaze and you're on fire. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yes, there's a candlestick there.
All right. I want to kick that at that little, I'm pointing at it with my mouse so nobody can see that. That's great.
Yeah, no, I see. Yes.
So I totally want to back kick this into this occultish foot soldier dude here that's going after Jesse.
And I 100% want you to be able to do that. However,
I can't do that.
You have actions on your card. So if you know what, that could just be a regular 1d6 attack, and you could choose how you execute that. So I'm perfectly fine. You could even say like you glare at him menacingly, and you just do a 1d6. So if you kick a candle at the dude's skull who's attacking Thistlethorn, totally acceptable. It's a 1d6 if you're good with that.
Yes, I am good with that.
All right. You miss that candle. The wax splashes the back of his helmet. He doesn't even notice as he's cursing this small goblin in front of him. Excuse me, forest goblin in front of him.
Okay. Well, I would also like to do a precise strike against the other occultist who's in front of me.
Nice. Describe for the chat and the audience, especially Vintage Motu, who has no idea what's going on, what a precise strike does.
So that is when using a blade, each damage is 2.
Oh my gosh, why did I give that to you? Okay, all right. So you get to choose how many of these you can spend. So you have 4 remaining dice. You could dump them all into this. You could go 2, you could do 1. Every hit you make is double damage. And I'll let you know, these occult footmen have 3 total hit points.
All right, I'm going to go with 2.
Okay. Both hits, and the occult footman has a defense of 2 And they both miss. So he has his armor. So he actually has armor. So both those destroy his armor. He has 1 hit point remaining. You have 2 more dice.
All right. I'm going to head and I'm going to use 1 more D6 on him.
Okay. It's a hit.
Excellent.
And he blocks it, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
You have 1 more D6.
All right. Well, since I was not successfully attacking, I'm just going to reserve that die for the moment.
Oh, okay. I'm going to put on the
I got another one.
Get him, Thistlethorn. Gnaw his ankles off.
All right. The thralls at the back of the room continue to watch the scene, but they hold their position for some reason. The next occult footman, seeing a flaming pumpkin-headed man jump onto a table, kick a candle at his buddy, decides, yeah, all right. And he turns to attack you. Now, he only has an attack of 2. Only 1 hit. So you're going to use this defensive dice, and you're going to add it to your regular defense. And you definitely block that. So you're able to block his attacks. Heroes party, it is your turn again.
High ground. All right, Shawn or Eldor, somebody step up to the plate here.
Yes, I was thinking about using what was it? A charge there, and then you make a free move, then attack with 3d6 strength die.
Yes, so the tank fighter, extra defense,
So,
extra armor.
I was thinking there about charging up and rearing at the fellow at the table there with my hooves, and then
This one
using
between Thistledoor?
Yes.
Okay.
And then using, can I use the bow there to do a ranged attack on the guy at the table, the other guy at the table there,
Let me see.
with spending that action there?
So I didn't specify that charge has to be with a melee. So yes, you absolutely can. Rules is written. That's 3d6 plus your strength. So you have, how much is your strength bonus?
Strength bonus is +1.
Correct. So you get a free move, and then from your 4 action dice, you're going to spend 3, but you get an extra 1 for your strength. So you're going to be rolling 4. Wow, that's pretty potent. That's 3 skulls here. So he only rolls 2 for defense. He only blocks 1, so he has taken 2 hits. So both of these occult footmen are down to 1 hit point each. You have one more action. What are you doing?
And so with my bow, I'm going to hit the fellow at the other end of the table there.
Nice. It's a hit. Let's see if this shot makes it. He's unable to block both of these. He is going to go down. Let's see. He blocks 1. The arrow glances off his pauldron or sticks into his pauldron. He is still standing. All right. It is the villain's turn again. This time, the thralls make a noise that chills your bones, Rhaegor. What sound emits from them?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
That would work.
One of the thralls moves across the room.
Yes, I'm from my metal band days there.
Glad I wore my brown pants.
No kidding.
And they move directly at Rhaegor. Now, Rhaegor, you haven't spent any actions yet, which means you have your 5 dice that you could use all for defense, but you won't have anything for your actions when it's your turn. So the villain's going to roll first, and then you get to choose what to commit to it. You make sense?
Yes.
Okay. They have 3 actions. He spent 1 to cross the room. He has a 2d6 attack, but he also gets a free attack dice. And he only rolls 1 skull. Your natural defense as a bruiser is 1. What are you doing?
I'll defend it.
With just 1 dice, you're going to add 1 more to it.
I'll add 1 more to it. What the heck?
Okay. Spending 1. You're able to block. Good job. The claws glance off your helm, and you can see just by looking at this thing's face that it is not intelligent. There's something missing from its gaze. All right. That should be... Oh, no, Rhaegar, it is now your turn. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I'll be honest. I'm completely over my head tonight. I'll ask you this. Can I...
Oh, you don't have your card. Dang it.
I found the card, actually.
Oh, there you go. Okay, great.
So I do have that going for me. Can I smash him, or does that not work in this situation?
3d6 plus strength dice. Absolutely. So you can spend 3. You have 4 dice left. You can spend 3 of those, and you get... What's your strength modifier?
+2.
Yes.
If
So you get
I got that
3,
right.
2 dice. So you're rolling 5 against this thing, which only has a defense of 1. Odds are looking good.
All right, I'll do it.
You get 2 hits. He blocks 1 of them. The thrall only has 1 hit point. It is dead. I want, as you slash your blade across it, I want you to describe why, when its wound opens up, it is absolutely disgusting. What do you see as its flesh peels back from your blade?
I see maggots and dark, oily tar mixed together pouring out of this thing's body.
Oh dear.
Your blade is coated in black tar and wiggling worms as you whip it to the floor. The thrall falls to the ground and you hear a gasp escape its lifeless lips. There are 2 more thralls. So there's actually an AI for each of the enemy, which you can play this game solo, but I'm not operating to its AI. I'm going to operate as I would. So it is going to move to Thistlethorn and advance on him. So that's 1. It has 2d6, and it's going to take its plus 1d6 for 3 hits. Thistlethorn, you get 1 dice to defend. You don't really have a lot of choices here.
Okay.
And you do not block it. So all the heroes only have 3 luck. Your luck has run out, my friend. However, all of you also have 1 luck potion, which if you drink, it is able to restore that. So you're at 0. If you take 1 more hit, you're dead. On your next turn, you need to spend action to drink that potion. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. The last thrall moves across the room, and it is going to attack Jack-o'-lantern for only 1 hit. And it's a miss. So you take 1 hit for the Headless Blade Master. All right. That ends this round. Top of the round, whichever one of the party wishes to go first. Go ahead.
I will drink my luck potion.
Nice. That spends 1 of your actions, Thistlethorn. You're down to 5 more actions.
Okay.
And you're back up to 3 luck. So the reason why I chose luck instead of wounds is because, I don't know, just wounding somebody right off the bat, you start wondering, like, well, if their leg's broken or if they're stabbed, it's just, no, you're just luck. You're running out of your own luck. And now when your luck is finally run out, you're dead.
Okay. And that the thrall is within range for me, right?
Yes, absolutely, because it attacked you.
All right. I'm going to do a targeted strike for 2d6.
Okay. And that should add your agility as well. So you're going to have 4d6 here.
Okay.
Ooh, 3 hits. Nice. It only has a defense of 1. Odds are looking good. Yes. You describe your, you know what? You got to describe your finishing blow last time. Instead, what I want you to describe is, what is this unintelligent thing's dying words?
Rosebud.
Looking desperately for a sled not to be found, it dies in anguish. All right. That only spent 2 of your actions, and you spent 1 for your agility or your potion. You have 3 dice remaining.
Okay. I will.
How's the light? Can you guys see that? Is there too much reflection? Are you good?
No,
it's
light's good.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Good. Just check it.
I'm gonna run over behind the. You can't see what I'm pointing at. The chair on the back where you're just to the left of the dice on the bottom of the screen. Yeah, I'm gonna run over there and I'm gonna take a defense position.
Coward. I mean, no, wise choice, sir. At your feet, you might not be able to tell, but at your feet, there's some arrows and what looks to be an elven blade too. But you could loot or go defense, whichever one.
I'll Well, that was the move was 1.
Correct. You have 2 actions left. Now, don't forget, you can also use your natural agility towards your defense. You're really rolling 3 every time.
Okay. I'll grab the elven sword.
Ooh, you find an elven blade. So this is the first loot item. Let me read the description. This blade requires agility, which you have, and you get a special of +1 damage when using this blade.
Excellent.
So you will sheathe your old sword, and this thorn now has an elven blade. And you have 1 dice remaining.
Shoot, you know what? I'll just attack. I'll attack the guy from
Nice.
behind.
Yeah, of course.
So he'll fought the thrall, scurry across the floor, slide on his knees, grab the elven blade, and just slice back up across the back of this guy.
Just like you'd expect. And that's targeted strikes. You're going to do a D6. Wait, you can't.
I can't do
2d6.
targeted.
You're right. So just a 1. Okay, gotcha. All right. Nice. It's a hit, and he only has. So he has a 2 defense,
down, right?
Yes, he has 1 hit left. If he doesn't block either of these, that guy's going down. He does not block either of those. So describe your finishing blow.
So again, it's going to be a low to high cut again, but this time from a lower cut, just opening up across the back what do you call it? Like a pig on a hook in a meat factory.
Eldor, what's your body count right now?
4.
Yeah, how's that back? Is it getting tired from carrying the team? All right, so it is yeah, I'm a very very pokey proddy DM. All right, it is the bad guy's turn. So the occult warrior sees his buddy go down. He was fighting you before, and he is not done with you, Thistlethorn. So he's going to give chase.
That's his last first mistake.
Indeed.
All right. And he says, "You're gonna runt, you're gonna pay." And he rolls 2. He has 1 hit. You have your 3 because of your agility. You are not able to block that. You're down to 2 luck, my friend.
Okay.
Party, it is your turn. Who is taking action?
So I will charge up there, and I'll just shoot him with another arrow.
I identify as a meat popsicle. Okay, choose your target. Who are you firing at?
So the fellow that has attacked Thistlethorn there.
A vengeance kill. Love it. All right, 3d6 plus your strength. So oh no.
Hold on, Thistlethorn. I'm coming.
Put him in a body bag.
All right.
Yes, extra points for Cobra Kai reference.
Oh, 4 skulls. All right, I want you to describe your finishing blow.
So I come around there, and I see this fellow going to attack my buddy Thistlethorn. So I raise my arrow as I twist around, coming around the bend there, and I let it fly straight through his head at an angle, of course, to miss Thistleform.
He takes an arrow to the back of his head, and you hear him mumble inside that bucket helm, "Oh, mother," and then he hits the ground.
I once took an arrow to the knee.
And yes, I
It's
got the Fifth
over,
Element
Pride.
reference entirely with the meat popsicle. Okay,
Take
you
that,
have
you ninny hammer.
you have one more die. What are you doing with it?
So who's left us standing there?
You've only got one thrall. There's actually only one target left. So shoot her! Shoot her!
Oh yes. So I spy the other fellow there, and I have another arrow to
Nice.
spare. So I flip that out, and I let it sail.
It's a hit. Let's see if he blocks. So the thralls
And it
only have
lodges
one.
right in his eyeball there.
It is a hit. The arrow sinks in, and you hear a sickening, slooshing sound. As it dies, though, you see some magic dispel from his corpse. Why does this magic concern you?
Oh,
Or rather, oh no!
everybody!
It
Get
knocked
out.
over the camera.
That damn magic.
It's possession gas. Don't breathe it in.
So there's an element at play here that is able to use possessive gas. That's canon. All right, team. There are no more threats in this room. As a D&D game, or whether it's a tabletop game, there's no point in us continuing in turn order, so to speak, in order to search this room. So I will tell you, on the table, there is one luck potion and one item that you can retrieve there, that dirk. There are arrows lying here, and there's a corpse to be searched, and also a trapped treasure chest to the back of the room.
I'll use my hooves to break open that chest, hopefully.
So, for a trapped chest, you're going to need to roll some intelligence here. And I stole this mechanic from Index Card IPG. You need to roll up to a 4. That doesn't mean that you have to get a 4 now, but through turns, you must achieve a 4. Does that make sense? So multiple rolls, you have to get up to a 4. However, because this is trapped, you have
when
a
I
consequence.
first started working in the stables there, they taught me some woodwork and what have you to maintain the stable.
So you can either smash this thing, it has a durability of 4, or which is using your strength, or you can try to unlock it, which is an intelligence of 3.
I'll smash it there.
Smash it, you will. All right, you're going to roll 3d6s. Let's see.
Roll out.
You get all 3. The trunk is smashed. I gotta do a little agility here on my own. Inside, you find an elven shield. Ooh, that gives you a +2 defense. And also unlocking it, you're able to find another luck potion. But also, there's a sign, something that you find inside this trunk that chills you to the bone. Something that leads to your personal quest on why you came here, which now that I say that, I realize you don't have one. So that's spoiled. I didn't think about that. So how does this tie into someone else's personal quest? Who else had a personal quest here that they actually developed?
I think Jesse.
Jesse.
I didn't have a personal quest.
Okay.
Wait, did I?
I don't
Yes. I've made it my personal quest to learn as much as possible.
Okay. So you find a note inside that allows you to learn a new fact about this tower you're in from the Baron. There are thralls here. There are occult footmen, and there's a goblin from your past. What is the new fact that you have learned to add to your quest?
Were those options or?
So those are just indicators to help you pick a theme or drive towards it. You can choose whatever you want.
Okay, can you say them again?
Yeah, so I'm just to remind you, you're in a dead Baron's Keep. There are thralls that are here that we've already identified have some sort of possession gas. There are cult footmen, and there's a goblin that was from your past too, here as well. So what is this item that allowed you to learn something new?
Well, I guess because I missed a detail earlier in life that got my friend killed, and since Skulker was the one who killed him, I'm learning that there's some larger plot going on that has him connected to this dead Baron.
You are correct. So your friend, not only was he killed by Skulker, but Skulker had a bounty in order to make sure your friend was put down, and it is indeed tied to the Baron's Tower.
Ooh.
There is an elven shield for grabs here. I'll let the party decide, and a luck potion as well. There is also armor-piercing arrows, which when shooting a target ignores the armor. So they don't just have hit points, they also have armor values. And one of my favorite fantasy weapons, which looks to be a regular dirk, but don't be confused by that. It's actually a mangosh, which is a second-handed weapon that allows you to parry when you're attacked. So when you're attacked while holding that, and regardless if you're successful or not, you're able to make one free attack roll after defending.
Ooh.
On the dead knight. Yeah, thank you for pulling out of that one. Yes, there you go. All right. Excellent.
Kind of had a plan for that thing as soon as I jumped on the table, if nobody else minds. I mean, Jesse did pull all the hard work there.
There is also on the dead knight back here, which we'll get into this poor fellow in a minute, a heavy warhammer.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right, how are you divvying up the loot, team?
I will happily
I'll take all the arrows there.
potions.
All right. Who's taking the potion?
Jesse
I'll-
needs potions.
If I can take one of
Jesse?
them.
Okay, going to Thistlethorn, the Mangosh going to, the Blade Master, armor-piercing arrows going towards the tank fighter. Still an elven shield and a warhammer. The warhammer allows you to add a +1 to damage if you have a strength modifier. So if you have any types of pluses to strength, you can use this warhammer and get +1 damage on every successful hit.
I'll do that then.
Oh, there you go. It's almost
Why
like I
not?
put these weapons out here specifically for these characters. All right, you are now wielding a warhammer. I'll switch this out. You
Sweet.
sheathe your sword. Now, the warhammer can also be used, just like it actually was used in medieval times, to target equipment. So everyone who's carrying a piece of equipment, that equipment has a durability. So if you encounter someone with a shield, you encounter someone with armor, you encounter someone whose face you don't like, you get to target that equipment and smash it.
Cool.
Did anyone lay claim to that elven sword lying on the floor there just before?
I did.
Yes, Thistlethorn has that.
You did.
Mhm.
Jolly good there.
The shield is still up for grabs. So if you'll notice on your equipment cards, there's hands on there. One hand means that you only takes one hand to use this. Two hands means that both your hands are occupied. So, for example, the bow or the warhammer have two hands on there. That takes two. So you can't equip, you can't dual wield. The Mangosh and the sword, however, only have one hand each. So you are able to equip both of those.
Oh, so I can have my regular sword and the elven blade?
You know what? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do with the shield, so one of you might as well pick it up.
And
Both of
if
my
you're
hands
not
are
able to equip it, you can always just slip it onto your back, so to speak.
No, that's reserved for the bow there.
Well, I'll slip it on my back.
All right.
Now I'm a turtle.
Going to the Blade Master. All right. Now, looking about the room, there. Oh no! Whoops. Here. Okay, looking about the room, there is a dead knight in the back of the room.
Let's check him out.
He's been slain. Who
It
was
is
he?
but a flesh wound.
Who was he?
Come here, and I'll bite your legs off.
Who was this knight who is dead inside the Baron's Keep?
Some called him Tim?
He is equipped with a holy hand grenade. No.
The Black Knight, maybe.
He is a knight of me. Or
We
is it
want our shrubbery.
Zuka prang?
Right.
He looks like a Templar that maybe was sent from Ethros.
There we go.
There you go. Got it better now.
Is he a bit of a necromancer, maybe?
As you look at him and you look inside his helm, yes, there seems to be some sort of necrotic decay. And yes, he is a Templar that's been sent here. Judging for the outside of his uniform, he hasn't been here that long, but his decomposition inside would suggest he's been here for decades.
Yee.
Ooh. Ooh. It's not even soup left.
Yeah.
He's a well fermented indeed.
So is he like actually dead, or is he just like a little
He has
like?
ceased to be. Yes, he is
Okay.
quite dead.
But so he's not like going to get up and start attacking us as a dead thing,
You assume not.
from what we can gather at this point.
Correct.
Okay.
He is not moving. But that's all I'll say.
I would like to loot the body.
Okay. He wears on him, he has his shield has been smashed. As you inspect him, there is no physical evidence to any of his wounds. There is no punctures, there's no penetrations to his armor. In the gaps, there's nothing that's been cut, there's no blood stains. There is no evidence of his wound. You already retrieved his warhammer. However, you can see that his initials on his belt indicate his name. So he is a knight. And Ragnar, you have served with him before. You recognize this man.
Hmm.
Why does everyone I know keep dying?
He told me he was going to the bathroom, and look what happened to the guy. A couple days later, I find him.
Yes, so actually that is interesting to your backstory then. This man did say he was going on a quest. What was that quest he was going on?
He was going on a quest to try and solve nightmares he's having every night, and he can barely go to sleep.
And unfortunately, you have also been suffering from nightmares most recently. As you recall his story from this dead night, you think about the descriptions he laid to you with demonic forms, purple clouds, dark worms, and you realize you've been having those same stirring, waking terrors.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen.
I hate it.
Is there anything you wish to gather up before you proceed into the next room?
Is anyone taking that other luck potion?
Oh, there's one right here.
Oh, yeah. I definitely need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going to
You give
Blade
it to
Master.
all there.
Okay.
Blade Master.
All right. All loot has been retrieved. Did any of you happen to write any bonds in the middle of the card either? No?
Yes.
Oh, you did. Excellent.
Yes.
What is one of your bonds to one of your teammates here?
First one is Rhaegor is my closest friend. I always offer them dibs on loot first, except I didn't.
Except you didn't. So, had you played to that bond, you would go ahead and check off an XP.
Okay.
Now, you did slay 4 dudes in this room, so you can go ahead and check off those XP boxes as well. For everyone who got a kill in this room, you can mark off 1 XP on your card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you wish to conclude before we open up the door to the next room?
Can I kill the dead guy again just to make sure he's dead? No, I'm kidding.
100%.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm
No,
kidding.
you don't even have to roll for
Double
it. Yeah.
tap.
Yeah.
Is this going to be like in The Rock? He's already dead. What am I supposed to do with him?
Kill him
Kill
deader.
again?
Hey,
I'll
man,
make
I'm
a-
a blade master. I don't take chances. Stabby stab.
I'll do the gladiator thing and
Okay.
scissor the head.
You go over there, and Thistlethorn, I feel like he's I feel like he's changed since coming in this tower, or did he always have this bloodlust?
He's been stuck in Silverhorn Castle so much, reading his books and stuff. He doesn't get out much.
Come now, Thistlethorn. You're beating a dead horse. Let's continue.
The spine breaks like a twig, and the head and the helm roll off, and there's a puff of dust from the decomposed skin that rolls out into the air, that puffs out into the air.
Oh.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to open the next room.
All right, who touched the button?
Go ahead and blow me up into the main.
Yeah,
if you do, please.
And I'm digging this snake skeleton here, by the way.
What snake skeleton? In the next room, gentlemen, you can see that there is the fallen baron sits upon his throne, and in his hand is a dull blue gem. In between him is a small trunk and what looks to be some sort of necromancer, and he has summoned 3 creatures that you have only heard of in legend before. Let me switch my GM screen here. Sorry. They are dark hearts, not black hearts. That's Marvel property. Dark heart demons. You'll also notice the back of the wall, leaning against the spine, is an artifact that one of you recognizes. I'll allow you to come back to it later on to decide what that artifact is. There's a table with a rolled up note on the top of it. And the necromancer seems to have just summoned these 3 dark hearts. What are you all doing? Who enters the room first?
I'll roll up in there.
Okay.
The bloodlusty goblin moves into the room.
Oh, that was Oz.
Nope, that was me.
Sorry. The headless horseman goblin.
But he is still bloodlusty, so there's still that going for him.
My flaming head just lights up the place,
All right. You've spent 1 action just to move. You have 5 more dice remaining. Now, I'm going to warn you. The Dark Heart Demons have 5 actions, and they roll 2d6 for each one of their attacks.
Ooh. Feisty. What happens if I roll up on the necromancer here?
So there is no blocking in this game. So once you move, you're in a scrum, and that's where the fight is going to start. So you're able to vault over that table and just get right at him.
Yep, that's what I'm all about there. I'm going after the dude who summoned him.
As you approach this creature, it utters your name, and you're faulted for just a moment as you wonder why this thing knows who you are. Go ahead and roll to attack.
All right, let's do a precise strike again.
Nice. So that'll be... Okay, how many dice do you wish to commit?
Let's do 3.
Okay. That is 2 hits. The necromancer only has 1 defense. Oh my god. It's able to block, so it takes 1 hit. It has 4 luck, so it has 3 luck remaining.
Shouldn't I have got 2 damage for that, though?
I'm sorry, you are correct. That is double damage. It has 2 luck remaining. Look, so I didn't write the rules, okay?
Hey, I'm just making sure I'm...
No, please, call me out by all means, absolutely.
Okay, now I got to decide. Do I want to do another... Yeah, let's do another precise strike.
Do it. Take him down. Do it.
And I'm going to go with... I should have 2 remaining die.
Yes, sir, you do. Sorry, I moved it off screen there. You can see it. Yep, you got 2 dice remaining.
All right, let's do both.
Okay. 1 hit. That is double damage. How anticlimactic. He is slain. However, on his dying breath, he utters something. He utters something from your past. He knows someone from your family. Who is it? Who has he threatened with his dying breath?
My sister.
Where's your sister currently?
In another castle.
You are suddenly concerned why this necromancer knows your sister's name and has threatened her as if it is a dying curse. All right. It is the villain's turn, and because you killed my necromancer right away, I can't summon my cool. Oh man, they're all tangled up here. Hold on. My cool shadow dogs that I was going to bring out. He got to summon these things, but he's dead, and you killed him, and I don't get to use those toys. So thanks for not letting me play with my toys, Oz. Real cool, man.
Toy blocked.
Yeah, real cool. All right, so one of the dark hearts immediately turns to you and is going to attack. So you have no dice. No dice for you. It's going to roll. It's 2d6. It spent 1 to attack. That's 2 hits. You're able to block 1. You take 1 damage. It's going to attack again. Nothing. And that's it. That completes its turn. So you take 1 damage. All right, heroes. Who's going next?
I will.
I'll charge in there.
Okay.
And I want to rear up on the table and flung it into what's his name's face there.
Instead you smash the table. Oh. All right, you're able to.
It wasn't a very sturdy design.
Looks like old bone and stone, but it's just styrofoam. All right, you moved to the room, losing 1, so you're able to throw the table at him for nothing. You have 2 more dice. What are you doing?
Oh, right. So what's the grit there? If you reach a 0 luck roll, durability dice, if 2 hits, or is that after an attack, I think?
Yes, that allows you to basically rebound. So yeah,
okay,
because
so,
you're a tank.
I'll spend the free. I'll spend the defend, the free defend there.
Okay. So you're gonna use those towards defense. Then is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It is the enemy's turn. He's coming at you, bro. So he has a free defense or attack. He rolls trash. He's going to take 1 more attack, and he rolls nothing. All blanks. All blanks. That was a waste of my turn. Okay, heroes. It is your.
I thought he was made of sterner stuff.
Yeah. He did not come. All talk and nothing. Whoops. All right, hero's turn.
Can I go ahead?
I was going to say, can I still get my free kill from the Ruthless ability? Or a free attack? I kind of missed it, and I just realized looking at my card.
This is absolutely a tutorial game. It's a friendly game. You absolutely can.
I'm totally spinning around and jacking that dude who hit me in the back like a little peach.
read for the chat what Ruthless is.
So, Ruthless, after killing a target, you may make another attack for free.
Around. And that's a 1d6. It's a miss. I'm sorry.
That's okay. At least I'm facing the right way now, and I feel better.
All right, who is next?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
I'll run in. I'll slide under Apharius's legs, and I'll with my rapid strike. So it's a free move and 2d6 attack.
Nice.
I'll take that attack at the dark heart. Nope, on the other side. Nope. I'm gonna run in and slide under their legs.
Oh, I see. I missed the narrative.
Right.
Oh,
you should be rooming up on that.
Yeah, you confirm he is a male. Okay, and then you get through.
No, eyes were on the prize. I was focused on the enemy targets.
Jesse, I'm just picturing you with the shield now, using it like a little surfboard over the floor. Like sliding
I played a halfling rogue for 8 years. This is my jam right here.
You get 1 hit, and the dark heart rolls 1 defense. It does not block. It takes 1 damage. It has 1 more hit remaining. You have 4 more dice. Wait, I lost count when I rolled it. 3 more dice, correct?
4, because that was the
4. That was you have to start with
6.
6.
Attack.
Yep. You're good. 4
so
dice.
I'm going to take my targeted strike 2d6 plus agility dice, which is +2.
Yes, sir. 2.
and I'm gonna attack Grumpy Butt Baron. So I'm like running in, sliding under, slicing the one with.
Dead. He's dead.
Oh, he's dead. Oh,
yes,
that's right.
yes. Sorry, that wasn't clear. He is quite dead.
Well, then I'll use that targeted strike on the Dark Heart. Then
nice. You roll 3. It is impossible for it to block. You've been describing a lot of finishing blows. I want instead for you to describe a peaceful moment when you're not murdering someone. What do you do? What does Thistlethorn do when he's just calm and having a day off?
He's somewhere outside the walls of Silverhorn Castle, with a book that's not research. It's for entertainment or enjoyment. No. Because the Fuzz Monks are dying out. There's no erotica for the Fuzz Monks.
What?
He's just enjoying, whether it be like poems or epic adventures or something to feed his imagination from all the research and stuff he's doing, keeping track of the antiquities in the castle.
It's the mental break. Nice.
It's Frodo reading the book under the tree at the beginning of Lord of the Rings.
Perfect. Oz, I feel like you haven't gotten enough descriptive opportunities. So as this thing hits the floor, as this dead dark heart hits the floor, what happens to its body?
And these were summoned demons?
You assume so, but you're not really smart in that whole magic stuff. You really just like to slice and chop things.
It kind of goes like one of those like bubbles that's like filled with gas, so it kind of like pops. Like there's like a weird like viscous tension to its body, and then it just kind of like dissipates and just leaves this awful sulfur rotten forest smell. Yeah.
Nice.
Dig it.
Okay, so I guess it's one more villain. Wow, this is really going. I was like, when they get to the second room, I'm sure it'll be much tougher for them. Dead. All right.
And I'm gonna hold the last. I have 2 more days. I'm gonna hold
2 more.
I'm gonna hold them in defense.
Okay, that's gonna be a stack of 5 there. You're gonna be rolling. Good grief. All right. You know what? I don't feel like this is a pretty big target. I don't know why more people aren't attacking it. It's got some good shanks and meat on there. So he's gonna go roll up, and he's gonna take a slice at old Furious there. That's 3 hits, but you've reserved 2 of your dice, correct, sir?
Indeed, I pulled my sword out of my back there.
You're also a tank, which means you have a natural 2 to your defense. So by the way, for everyone who's not, for you guys who are like, oh, I've only got 3, the tank has 3 armor and 4 luck. So he's stacked up with 7 here.
So that back fellow, I kick with my back leg there. Gets a hoop to the gut. And the other fellow, I reach for my sword and I come down like a bit of an axe on a chopping block there. And I strike down top of his head.
And you're able to
peels
block.
in half like
You're
a bit
able
of sliced cheese.
Well, he's attacking you, so really it's more of a blocking action there. You are able to block all of his attacks. He's gonna. That's it. That's the end of their turns. Good grief, Ragnar! You step into the room, and you see only 2 more threats remaining here. Your friends don't really seem to have even broken a sweat.
I said thanks, guys.
That's what I said there.
So I will choose what the
Put
heck.
the hammer down.
Yeah, I'll do a smash on one of those because I like smash.
Yeah.
You want me to put down the hammer?
So smash is 3d6. You have 4 dice here, and then you're going to add your strength, which is 2. So you're rolling 5d6 against this thing. Good Lord, that's 3 hits. It's going to roll 1. Go ahead and describe your finishing blow.
I bring down my warhammer on his head, and his whole entire body just explodes in that viscous tar, maggots flying everywhere.
Oh my God!
Shout Gallagher,
and he screams. He screams with a voice that only a damned soul would understand.
and he
You
completely
couldn't wait till I moved out of the room.
Yeah.
He was there. I was helping.
It's definitely a horse of a different
Oh,
color
good.
now. He's
Yes.
You owe me a pound to
I
use the
swear to-
shells when we get back into town.
I will take you to a river. We'll give you a scrub down. You're gonna be okay. I
my.
promise.
You're gonna brush his flanks.
We're gonna frolic in the water like Rocky and Apollo at the end of this. I promise.
Yeah.
top of the round. There's one threat left. Which one of the heroes are going to put this poor, lonely, dark? He's really, I mean, honestly, he's the victim here, as I see it. So,
can we just all turn on him at the same time?
I hear a growl, everybody. I start to spin around to see him start to rise up in his chair. I thrust around with my arrow, and I pull out one of the piercing arrows just for good measure.
All right, and that is going to be...
And I cry, and now I will send you back whence thou camest.
Yeah, describe your finishing blow.
So after defending there, I thrust around, and I say, and now for you, you foul beast, I will send you back from where thou camest. And I'm twisting around there with one of those new Arnold rounds, you know, and then I fly.
Oh, man.
And it goes straight into his chest.
I'm going to be honest.
And out the other side.
Didn't think the necromancer would fall that quick because there's no blocking. So he's able to stack. When it's his turn, he can summon something and the dark demons get to take a free action. So really, I was really banking on that action economy. And yeah, that did good job. Excellent job screwing my game up. So as you look in the room now, there is a treasure chest in the back of the room, and it is filled with...
Let's bring this up.
Oh,
looty loot.
some loot. You actually get what looks to be 5 silver pieces and 4 gold coins. So that is your party's loot there. Have you identified this artifact at the back of the room?
I think that should jog one of Eldor's memories.
Okay. What is this artifact, and why is it so disheartening that it is in this dead baron's tower?
It is the Eldor blade from the netherworld. That is where he was getting his power from.
And this is not something the Baron should have in his possession. As you all recoup and look around, other than being splattered in demon ichor, you're actually doing pretty well. Until, just pull up the camera one more time here as we are about to conclude this game. The gem falls from his hands. A portal opens up, and out steps...
Oh,
I love it.
nice.
And that's where we're going to leave the game for tonight.
Oh,
Yes,
Nice.
that is what I'm talking about.
Serious nerd stuff, guys. Serious nerd stuff.
So serious. Oh my god, this was so much friggin' fun.
I hope that's not just platitudes. I hope really
No.
you guys are playtesters, and that's a very fast, very light D&D session. But yeah, so thanks so much for playtesting that and walking through it, guys.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks. Also, that artifact actually goes to one of the very early Four Horsemen products, one of their animal lines. Absolutely love this guy. I got him really early on, right when the first Kickstarter wave was coming out. I was like, oh, what's this guy? Okay, I'll get him. And I don't think you can ever find these things to do again. So that's what that blade goes to. Really awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Is that Ramathor? Is that his name?
I don't remember. I have the mutant too, but just the fact that he's an elephant, he's He's got his ears have the gauges at the bottom, and he's just this massive guy. Whenever the boys and I play with him, this guy comes out. He's always just like this demigod warrior that comes in the battlefield. So we use him very sparingly, but really cool. Articulation's obviously come a lot of way in figure line since this figure, but still just gorgeous, really fun.
Awesome.
So very cool.
And I'm glad it was another Four Horsemen product that joined in with this too.
Yeah, and I was worried that purists would be like, "Hey, why are these Marvel Legends in the stable here? What's going on here? What is that?" Because this is actually a Gears of War for the Necromancer, right? This is a Gears of War figure. Yep. But I was like, man, I don't see any sci-fi stuff in him. This guy can totally work for a Necromancer. And honestly, that's the idea of the game. Is it's a universal game. You can pick up any line and dump it into your theme, right? So
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Come on, man. This is like Andy's room here, all right? We're playing with everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works.
So again, like for those who don't follow our channel a lot here, I'm going to back out of this camera and shut this one down here. Sure. My boys and I, so we have, my 7-year-old is very strict with genres. He's like, no, you can't have Trapjaw. You can't have Roboto with He-Man. No sci-fi. It's fantasy, Dad. I'm like, yeah, but the show. He's like, I don't care about the show, Dad. We're playing now. So he is very much like, you have to have magic and fantasy. If you want to play with sci-fi, Roboto goes over with Warhammer and G.I. Joe. I'm like, wow, kid. So he has a very, very dividing line in there. But I've got a lot of figures. So anything that could fit into fantasy, we just dump out. We're like, here we go. This guy's going in here. We've got Plunderlings. We've got Thistlethorn. So we very much are kind of like the Andy's analogies used to. And like these McFarlane demons too fit in great with our vampire all-in that we got. Because we're like, hey, these are just foot soldiers, you know what I mean? Or thralls or whatever they are. So
those are Wetworks figures, right?
They certainly are. And they're limited in posability. But I don't need my fodder to have a lot of posability, and they're just cool and tall and like
they fit in with screen there. Show that.
There we go. Yeah,
I love that Will Spartasio art on that series back in the day.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm still a big '90s, and this one's got a full shaggy hair here. They're super fun. The McFarlane toys,
his hairdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The McFarlane toys still really hold up as far as playability when you get away from the sculptures like the Wetworks lines a little bit early on where they're actually making toys instead of just statues. So really fun to incorporate in.
Excellent.
It's Barbar. It's King Barbar. It is King Barbar. So
well, that was a ton of fun, and I really think we definitely need to set another one up to continue and see where the story goes, because I had a blast tonight, and I've definitely been looking to do something like this. I know, like I said, I've brought it up on the show before, and this is exactly that. And I love the fact that we are bringing the toys into it. And I mean, people in the chat were getting involved with what we were doing big time, like talking about, how much fun it is. James Arson Toys here, he was even saying it's the big game. That's what he was calling.
I think we woke the baby at one point there.
Yes, we woke the baby.
That was all whoever did that screech.
That was great. Who was that?
Yeah. Was that you?
I said there, that was back in my Metal Band days.
I mean, I can do a scream like that, but it wasn't me.
No, that was spot on. So my goal eventually is I'm so flattered that you would want to do this again, right? So the best end to a D&D. So I DM'd for about 2 years. I played for a while. I thought it was too cool for school for D&D. But the best compliment you can get as a DM afterwards is like, hey, I want to come back and play again. It doesn't matter, even if they're angry, like, well, I'm going to come back next week. You're like, okay, I guess it was a success then, even though you're like raging at me, right? Like you threw the table up at some point. But if they come back and everyone wants to keep coming back again, then that's a sign of success, right? So thank you. Like that's a huge compliment to be like, I'd like to do it again. Just so my idea is that I do want to actually publish in the future and be able to be like, hey, here's a game you can play with other nerdy friends or by yourself. There's actually a solo mechanic. I mentioned an AI you could just line this up by yourself and look at it and be like, okay, well, a goblin does this. And you could follow that logic, because if you take turns, it's kind of like playing chess, but the other team has a set of rules they're going to follow. And I stole that idea from a really cool game called Index Card RPG. It's by Runehammer. Super cool dude, really fun. He's got a YouTube channel. This came out years ago, and I've worn the heck out of it. But the idea is from the movement, it's conceptual. He lays out literal index cards. His art is really neat too. It's just very ink and black and white drawn. He's got a great aesthetic to it. But the idea is he lays out an index card, and that's what you go to. You can, and then here, while I have it up, the other one is Easy D6. I don't follow this mechanic, but I prescribe to the philosophy of like, hey, you don't need a lot of crunch. You need a couple things that this class can do, and that's it. And he follows 1d6 for all his dice rolls. I don't like that because I love the satisfaction of actually being able to chuck dice across the table. But his philosophies and the way he comes up with character designs, really good. And he's got a couple cool mechanics in here that I borrowed from too. So these two books heavily influenced like a very simple game that I play with my boys, and also Hero Escape and what's it called? Hero Quest as well. So Hero Escapes are really fun. That's actually where these dice came from, was Hero Escape. So yeah. So thank you. So that's the bundle of ideas that are poured into it.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. Absolutely.
Thanks. Great.
And I've been playing regular 5e D&D for almost 9. Fun, faster way to just kind of get into it. And I liked how you were building out the characters and stuff as we went, like asking us like, what does this mean to you? Not just I thought that was really a cool aspect of it.
So I stole that too from a indie Kickstarter game called Dungeon World, where if you're curious about alternates to 5e, Dungeon World, it didn't make it much longer. I don't think it really caught on, but the idea was it's a collaborative storytelling game, really. So the DM builds a lot of gaps, and players are forced to introduce the narrative. In fact, the players will sometimes even describe the enemy they're attacking or describe the history of the enemy. They're, however much freedom they give. It's very collaborative storytelling. I thought that was so cool, so I tried to borrow elements from there too. But I'm glad you appreciated that. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I've only played for an hour and a half.
My youth days there, but I haven't played as much as long as say Jesse there. But this has probably been the first in about a couple of thousand years, I suppose.
I will say the only thing I will happily come back and play again, or you guys can come on my channel because I'm going to start hosting more games. You got to fill out those character cards. That's the only requirement. Imagination, good spirit, and fill out your character cards for God's sakes. Because it adds to the prompts. If you're just like, hey, I'm here on a quest to slay a dragon. I don't have a dragon set up, but I can say like, oh, well, this guy's actually part of the cult of that dragon. Like it just feeds into that narrative and connects the tissue there. So yeah, no, I'm super glad you guys.
Sorry, I didn't do my homework there.
That's all right. Everyone's busy. My job sucks. I'm so glad to be able to come to do this because I hate my job. And I was like, all day, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to do a stream tonight because this day sucks. I didn't even know it was Tuesday until Ken jumped in there. I was like, oh, Tuesday stream. I was like, is it Tuesday?
No, it's Monday.
No, it's Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Monday.
So we said a Tuesday stream. I was like, is today Tuesday? But that's how much my job has me wrapped around. I'm like, I don't know what day it is. I'm going to take Ken's word for it. I have no clue. So.
Oh, no.
I totally
So,
forgot.
I was half thinking then that we might have been playing outside because I see you normally play the games outside there, but I realise now it would have been a bit of nighttime there. Yeah. It would have been a bit off. I think we were playing outside in the dark there.
No, that would have been
going to be suspicious.
I take risks with my toys, so I go outside and play with the boys, but I also have a 1/18 scale, very big war game where I just take all sorts of formations out there, and it's very much tabletop miniatures warfighting game, and there's a lot of risk with that one too. I don't think I'd ever be as bold to take out at night, purely because I'm afraid I would just crunch everything. Like not so much losing, I could find the daylight, but just crushing all those toys. I don't think so, but yeah, I take risks with my toys. Like my boys play with these mythic legions. Like I know, like I've got Otho over here. They play with Otho. You know what I mean? Even though that's, but that's so much of the fun. I think more collectors would have fun with their toys if they played with them. I think a lot of the snark and cynicism that comes out from groups, or you see an announcement and people just tear at it, or they get the figure in their hand, they just pick it apart. But I think if they played with it, I think they'd have more appreciation in the value of what they actually have in their hands. So
I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Toys are meant to be fun.
yeah, exactly.
And you should play with them. And I think as we get older, we kind of forget some of these play habits, and just how you should really just remember to have fun with it. I mean, it's all good to look at it. I think toy photography is a new way to break into playing with your toys as well. You don't have to be so involved with it necessarily. I like to play with my Origin stuff with my son.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for us. But coming up with new ways to play, and this really helps with sparking the imagination too, which I love about it.
After a busy day, pick a figure off the shelf there can release some of that tension. Normally you'd use a fidget spinner, I suppose, on your world there. But just think of it like a slightly bigger fidget spinner or something. Just pose the tails around and.
I had only recently
details.
Heard of the term pocket figure, and it's a figure you grab and you put in your pocket just like you were a little kid, and you pull it out and fidget with it. I never made that connection, but I was like, oh man, there's been several conference calls I've been on, and I'm articulating or posing someone. I'm like, this is a fidget spinner. Like I never made that connection, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Photography.
You might find that in some offices there, some of the workers might have figures around their computers or the desks. Some people in the Transformers world, they take their desk spot to work, and they might take a photo saying, this is today's desk spot, and so forth.
I think photography is an excellent way. Narrative storytelling is a great way. Just customizing is another way of playing with your toys too, to be able to take something, look at it and go, this could be something else, and feed your imagination to it, whether it's scratch building or just repaint, or you guys do a lot of part swapping, which is awesome. Because I don't follow, I don't follow any of the Mythic Legions lore because I can't keep up with it. I've got, I read other stuff, but as soon as I get a figure in my hand, I pop part swap and like, this is my whatever the new character is, right? So that, I think that's playing with your toys too when you customize as well. So
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm doing with this guy here. I took a Maz Kanata, gave it the band. It's not painted yet, but gave it a bandana from some Marvel Legend, head from the $10 Soka figure from McFarlane. One of the feet fell off. I don't know where it's at the moment. I gotta Dremel it out. But this is my D&D Halfling Rogue.
Footloose.
Yeah. And I pulled her shoes off. I put those are like Frodo's feet from the Diamond Select, and I forget where the crossbow came from, but yeah, it's that's going to be my Halfling Rogue getting worked into my Mythic Legion display.
That's phenomenal, and I bet your fodder bin is like just overwhelming with the amount of characters you had to gut or toys you had to gut in order to make that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing when I start. It just like, oh, that's kind of cool.
So that Hudson custom I'm doing there, at the moment I'm having to use a Varg figure for the wings and that other one. So you do end up with spares.
This one is basically my Ram Man homage.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
Jesse gave me that head around Christmas. It was part of the Father Christmas deal, if I remember right.
Yep.
And I just started messing with stuff. Next thing I know, I'm like, that's Ram Man. I'm good.
Is that bigger arms on that one there?
No, same as the normal barbarian builders. It's just those pauldrons. It's the Vorthog pauldrons that really make it pop.
Oh, yes, that's probably.
Or actually, it might be the Furious 4 ones, actually, because it's more gunmetal. But I just did that, gave them the club. Happiness ensued. Cool. So,
and then, like I said, I've been playing or listening to the Critical Role, the podcast, and I just finished it up this weekend. I'm going to make the whole cast into Mythics figures, but here is my Vax. I haven't done anything to it yet. I've put the pieces together, but it's going to get all painted. I'm going to put some sculpt up in his head to hide that hole where the crown was. And these are old Redeemer spawn wings that I cut off.
Look at that throwing hand. Where'd you get that throwing hand from? That's so cool. Look at that grip.
Those are, I believe, those are Gandalf hands from the Diamond Select Gandalf.
Oh, very cool. That's an awesome touch.
So, and he's got the third one in his blink belt over here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's.
All of a took. I was wondering where my hands got to.
I never watched the first season. I heard about it late, and then season 2 came out. I was like, well, I'll jump in here. So I was a big fan of that while I was playing D&D and stuff for a while, and then I've kind of drifted away from it. But quality show. I haven't caught the third season. I didn't love the Amazon animated show. I much prefer, like you did, like the podcasting, listening to the players or watching them on YouTube. So
I got into that after the second season of the animated came out. I was like, I really like these characters. I want to get into it. So I started in January because it's a free podcast instead of, paying for an Audible subscription for a couple months. So, I like how the show kind of condenses everything and like streamlines the narrative.
Yeah,
but I
of course,
love the gameplay because like the character moments are a lot more genuine and obviously that informs what the show is going to do, but I love all the little Easter eggs they've been working into the show too.
Yeah. And they're actors, so yeah.
Yeah. So if you're watching the show and
we had a group of people here in Attorney, and they have a show called I think it's AFK, I believe, and they run a wee show where they dress up in your fantasy and they do a bit of LARPing, but they all make it a bit of a serial. And,
awesome.
Yeah, interesting.
I have no idea what the agenda is for the rest of the show because we've gotten into D&D, so I'm sorry if I let us down this rabbit hole here. So you have to tell me when the recess bell is out because I have no idea. Because I obviously I love games and I've got I just buy manuals and don't ever actually play the game to look at the innovative aspects of the gameplay. But much like Jesse, I like listening to quality D&D shows as well. Like it's fun. You get to see people. That's another way of playing. Yes, they use minis, but they're acting. That's play as well. That's the Imagine Spark. So, yeah, super fun.
Is Will Wheaton still doing his tabletop show there? I remember back in the day he was running a bit of a show there with a few other well-known names and looking over a few new games and what have you.
I don't know, to be honest. What's funny is I only know Will Wheaton from the what's the other 5e franchise that does they're like a mercenary company. It's led by a bald dude actor. Anyways, he jumps in there and they're really funny. They're like extremely crude and all the narratives
so not Patrick Stewart there.
No. Sorry. It'll come to me afterwards. I'll drop in the chat. I'll be like, oh, it's this one, guys. But it's really funny. And gosh, Jim Darkmagic. Like I'm thinking of all the characters, but I can't remember all right, move on. Shift subjects. Let's talk about something else. Get the spotlight off me.
Well, I mean, just really, this was kind of like the main objective. We, of course, need to do a Legions class this month, and you and I had talked before about getting on and just talking about Legions and stuff like that. But after watching your game, I was like, we got to talk about that. Like, we've really got to talk about this.
Yeah.
And so using our Legions characters brings it right to it. Jesse, I know, is D&D, so I knew he'd be on board to try something like this. Eldor has the experience. I didn't know what Shawn's experience was. And
none.
No, you did great. You're awesome. You went in and smashed stuff with a hammer. It was awesome.
I was happy to smash. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
I was the last one. Every time I'm just like, I'm listening to you guys and trying to figure this out first. So
You're playing cleanup, man. Just coming in, just batting it up.
right.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
You're the
sure.
whole
I was a little bit rusty there, mind you, but it's just all coming back to me now. As I
No,
say.
it's great. Yeah, no, it was awesome. So I also like that you guys, I think, I can't remember. I think I asked you like, hey, what do you kind of want to play? But there are types of how you would fight. So like you picked an agile guy and you said, oh, this is my bag, man. I can run around the place. And if you like smashing stuff, well, there's a bruiser. So, and the bruiser could also be Colossus, right? So like later on, so like that's how they kind of interchange. So I was like, what archetypes are out there? And yeah, you guys did awesome. Like I knew. It's always stressful being a player and be like, I don't even know the rules, Dom. Like, shut up. Just play throw some dice, kill some things. Yeah. So
that's it. Basically, I was probably the most nervous going into this because with it being on YouTube, there's that, yeah, everybody's gonna see how stupid I am at this thing. But you did a great job of making me feel like, hey, does this work? And you're like, okay, boom, and I didn't feel like I was as newbie as I actually am. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You did great. Yeah.
Well, I think bringing it back to legions and everything, and how you were saying your son likes, the fantasy stuff's got to be with the fantasy stuff, the sci-fi is going to be with the sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think one of the great thing about legions is, yes, there is the established lore, through all that, and they're working on a book and everything.
Oh, cool.
But like, I've never felt as free and expressive with a line of toys since I was a kid as an adult collector. Like, over the weekend I picked up a couple Star Wars. I was at a show, found some cheap ones, and it's like, all right, well, there's Blue Leader and he's holding his helmet and he's never going to be anything but Blue Leader on my Star Wars shelf, you know? And it's cool to have that variety and stuff to look up and see all of them. But like with the Mythic Legions, like I get new ones and I got to rearrange them on the shelf. Cause like, oh, these guys got to be together, or like, oh, I got this new custom weapon I want to put with somebody. And it just changes everything. Like, and one of my friends, Danny, I'm pretty sure he's the one that said it, called it like the multiverse of mythos, where it's like everybody's Four Horsemen, Mythic Legion shelves. It might be the same characters, even if they don't do any swapping, but it's all slightly different than everybody else's. Cause you were saying you don't really follow the lore because it's a lot to keep on you. And I just think that's a really cool thing about that, to where you can throw them into a tabletop game like this, or
there's no baggage.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. And because the guys at the studio are so embracive, is that the right word? Is that a word?
They embrace.
They're embracing of that of that version of play with it that, I think is really cool. And then you don't have the people coming in like, well, you can't put Luke Skywalker with Deadpool.
You can't. Oh man, that's the best.
That's the worst line ever. You can't, or don't do that. Like, don't tell me how to play with my toys.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, though, I do have that sort of battle going on in my head there when I get a new Mythic Legions figure, because if you customize something, you're making it something new and different, and there's that with that grey area lies. You're thinking, or should I keep it the character that I got in the package there and display it like how you would with all your Master of the Universe characters and all the different ones there, and or do I swap this figure with the Varg parts and make him a Hudson figure from a Hudson tribute from the Gargoyles there? So it's a bit of a difficult progress to internalize there. But
I think it's how your purpose to buy, right? So I didn't buy the Mythic Legions because there's a comic book or an IP, or I have to have Blue Leader or anything like that. And I didn't buy Mythic Legions because this is the next wave and I have to get it. Like you asked, like, hey, who's getting the con exclusives? And like, I didn't because of budget. Now, if I had, let's say I just had a full wallet and I could buy whatever I wanted, would I have still bought those? Maybe, if I could fit it into what we're doing. So the reason I haven't changed my Centaur is because that's the only Centaur I have. Like, there's no reason for me to change him, right? Because that fits something I don't have. So I'm like, this is great. And I bought a Centaur because I wanted a Centaur, regardless of the character or bio attached to it. So for us, I include my boys as well. When we get something, we port something into our reality, it's filling a gap. So that's kind of how we judge a toy. It's like, how else can we use this guy? Where will he fit in? And unfortunately, that lends to a lot of spending, like because there's this adapter to like so we saw some Fortnite guy who had this he's a prisoner and he's got this iron clasp over his head, he's got red icons all over his chest, and Tristan was like, oh dad, that guy could be, and he started like spitting this narrative. I'm like, great, well, I'm buying this $25 figure that I didn't think I was going to, because that's amazing. So I think it's how you, and speaking moistly, and so like I don't follow the Mythic lore, I give them my own names. Our boys were lazy with the names until we start imprinting a new character, and they're like, okay, this guy is now Luke or Kolvar or whatever we put onto them. So
when I saw this figure come for sale there, I was going to initially used the Varg figure from the full Hudson, but when I saw this one for sale, I thought that the head looked it had all the right aspects to Hudson. So I thought, yes, I have to get this figure. And plus, Hudson also has pants on, so I can paint those pants a different color. And yeah,
Go for it, Shawn.
When I got into it, I always tell people I needed that gateway figure, because for me, without the gateway figure, my investment is less and less, depending, because if it's not a figure I really wanted, then what's the point? And I was lucky enough to get Rhaegar for a very reasonable price compared to what I found out later on eBay he was going for. And then once I got him, then anything that I did revolved around his faction, because that was the main character. So there are a few of the hero characters, like I have Atlas, I have Torgon, and a few others where they're named characters. I'm not going to change them, or I might have popped and swapped them to give them a little different look than what they have. But I'd say a majority of the figures on my shelf for the heroes are pop and swaps that I just created, thinking how cool will they look in that faction, in that group. And then I have it like, okay, Rhaegar is going to be like a special ops guy, so I want to have at least a few special ops guys that they go out and do the most dangerous missions. Atlas stays back with his boys then, but they're all connected, and so that's cool. Like my thing. And I noticed like the villains, I don't really do that with, because I already like how the villains work in Mythic Legions. So I have them, and that's like a good bar for the heroes to set. It's like, okay, so these guys are the worst of the worst, so the heroes better damn well bring it. And that's why the pop and swap and trying to come up with these characters that I might not be able to get right now, it's even more important to me that way.
Yeah,
to be more creative with the story.
Yeah. I think that's part of my problem there with the figures costing, a little as much as they do. It's not, say, being able to buy 3 of these figures and then having one you can, swap apart. And
yeah, the price point definitely is barring. And with the pop and swap, I wish, and I understand why it's not like this. I wish there was a Mythic Legions that had the Marauders, and I've said this before, the Marauders thing, where I could go to the shopping cart and be like, I want these hands, I want these feet, I want these legs, and you can just build the pieces all day long. Like, people can recreate any figure they can, Magnum PI to Flash from G.I. Joe out of Marauders parts, because they just shop to whatever they want to there. I was like, if only Mythic Legions had that style of just like a la carte, build your own things in there too. Like, how amazing would that be? But I understand it's not in their formula. I'm not bagging them. I'm just, if I had a wish, it probably wouldn't be that.
I believe Lego has a similar thing where you can buy individual pieces.
Yeah,
Lego,
same idea.
But they're producing hundreds of millions of them.
And that's again, I understand. I Marauder's able to do it, and I always looked at them and like, I wish more companies did that. So, but again, if I had 50 wishes, that would be on there somewhere.
That was
you want.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say you aren't the first person that I've ever heard wishing for that. So if the Horsemen, because the Horsemen are pretty good at listening to what the fans are wanting, that could be. I mean, they wanted all the Legion builders, and then boom, there they were last year.
No, very receptive.
So the chances of that happening along, and especially with how many different things that they have now, I'm not going to say it's definite, but I would think maybe it could be an eventuality.
It's overhead, so you have those parts sitting around, and this product that's not selling. So I understand that you don't want stuff sitting somewhere that's taking up space, that's inventory, that's overhead. So I get it. As Jesse said,
so the companies they're concerned about the risk these days. You see. Yeah.
I think it's something they could definitely get to at some point in the future if it continues to grow. I don't know if it would be like a perpetual thing, but they're like, hey, we got a stock of parts, like everybody can pick, up, it'd have to be because I'm pretty sure Jeremy or Eric or someone talked about that at some point that I've heard, where just the logistics of it and the way their model works and everything, it's just not in the cards at the moment. Not that they wouldn't ever do it, but
again, it makes total sense. And
that'd be as a customizer buying blanks,
Yes,
that would be
exactly.
a dream.
It's like a Build-A-Bear, but for Mythic Legions, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Build a Legion.
I
Like I
so
want to
also
explore right now. I will go open one up if they will give me the inventory.
you mentioned a book. I know this is going to sound hypocritical, almost backwards thinking, right? But you mentioned I didn't know they were coming with a book, but that's a very logical step. I don't want them to make a book or a video game or anything because they're very. Someone criticized like early on, it's like, oh well, I wish there was like a lore to Mythic Legions, and someone had a channel where they're like, hey, if you read the bios, they link it together. But this is before they had like a real big web page. The bios link stuff together for you, just like an old G.I. Joe file card or like a Marvel Legends card. But I don't know if you get this gag, but on my show, I'm very much into Marvel Legends trading cards. I don't, but the Marvel Legends cards are the same way. Like it builds a universe by pieces, and you fill in the blanks because you don't have all the comic books, right? So with Jesse's, like, you know, I got the Blue Leader, and or with the I Can't. The more you fill out that world, the more people they'll have to be able to fill that with their imagination. The more it's like, oh no. According to book 1, this happened first. You can't have that oath next to this guy. Like it's almost better to have more blanks and just a little tidbits that you can fill in.
I don't mind that they're doing it for the people who want the lore, because it's like a double-edged sword, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the spaces, because me personally, I will never follow the lore unless it involves like the villains, because that gives me, like I said, villains are up here, gives the heroes something to fight with. Guy.
Just gonna
I know Transformers the movie completely messed with my head as a kid, because all of a sudden all the bad guys are winning, and I'm like, when did this happen on Saturday morning cartoons? Never. And all of a sudden all the villains are up here. And like all the Autobots are like desperately trying to either run away with their lives or like open the Matrix every 5 minutes.
That's what makes a hero is conflict and real villains. Yes,
absolutely. That's why I like it. But I know there are other people out there who it would be awesome for them to have chapter and verse what it is, because that is finally cementing the lore for those who don't want to go on the website and read it that way. So I can see both sides, but I will never be somebody who's a chapter and verse anything, because it's like you need that room. You need that imagination in there, like you said.
I feel like, unlike so many other, fantasy properties like Lord of the Rings, like Tolkien researched and worked on that for years. Like that's so built out and all of this, and even other ones, but I think being so far into the line, bringing this book in, like, you don't have to get the book if you don't want to.
No, 100%.
No. And I don't mean you specifically, but like, and for so many people, like, aren't going to buy that book, or they'll buy it for the artwork in it, because it's like it's not just going to be a novel. It's like a tabletop or a coffee table book that's like,
oh, very cool.
It's an illustrated narrative. And a lot of Nate Barchart's going to be in it, and I don't know if it's just him or if it's going to be other people as well. But it's going to explain like the history, like the whole thing with the rise, the original Rise of the Dark Four, and the great beasts and everything. And I just think it's going to be cool to have all that. So because it's coming so far in, you've got everybody's doing their own thing anyway. You kind of know the basics of who these characters are, and. In the comic, Scapular kisses Artemis for some reason.
I didn't like that. Yeah.
But now they're saying, well, the comic was just kind of a thing to kind of get going, and it's not canon anymore. So, yeah. So I think it'll leave a lot of room to play for people still.
You're right, and again, I'm not bagging it. I'll probably buy the book. Like, I love the game Zombicide. My boys and I love it because it's a co-op game where it's tactical tabletop. And I bought a book by mistake from it. I was like, this book was not what I wanted from this game, right? But I just didn't like the prose. But yeah, I'll probably buy the book. It supports them, and yes, I want to be able to read that too. But you're right, just like your Star Wars characters, I don't think that will taint for people like you who buy, right? So I don't think that'll taint it. You'd be like, oh, I can have this. And I can have my own stuff that I have on the side, and they can coexist. I believe in that philosophy as well. To really nerd out here, have you guys ever watched Matthew Colville on YouTube? All right,
I know that name.
So big D&D guy, but he also doesn't really talk about game and mechanics so much. He also goes on some very interesting topics about being a Wang Rod player, right? Like, you don't be a Wang Rod. And like, he's just very interesting and animated. And one of the coolest things he talked about was this game in the 90s called The Legend of Five Rings. And it's like Magic the Gathering, but it's Asian influence. And there's 5 factions and you play. And I don't understand deck builder games, but the way he described it was that on a card, just like a Magic the Gathering card, you get a character and it's like, whatever, but there's a little thing about that character and you're like, oh, and then as you're building your deck, it builds the story in front of you. But he was like, but you have so much depth behind it and what you're playing and your meta and all this stuff. I was like, that's what Mythic Legions is with their bios. Here's just the front facing piece that allows you to start churning your imagination to build the background behind it. And that's why I think new IP, I'm going to hot take here. Ready? Hot take. I think new IP is always going to be better for me because there's no baggage. There's no comparison bias. It's here's Defenders of Eden. They're dinosaur warriors. I'm like, ooh, it's something fresh. Like, and that's why I love Mythic Legions because it's fresh and it's, I think I'll always have that attachment. But yeah, that's, I don't, sorry, maybe that's a rant or
no, not at all.
As a Masters of the Universe fan and like my buddy Matt and I podcast about that. That's one of my biggest rants all the time is everybody has their own canon of this and everybody's such a stickler to it. I kind of want it to be something different, but keeping in the spirit of it at least so that I have the chance to have the mystery again from when I was a kid. Because nowadays it's just like, okay, Filmation is usually the baseline for most fans. And for me, I'm like, I like the mini comics. I liked when there was mystery. I like the Great War idea. I like that all these vehicles were out there and you could like rebuild them and make these war machines again or whatever. But unfortunately, it's like for me, there is a certain magic that's gone from that IP for that reason. It's too set. And that's why like when I went to Mythic Legions, I'm like, hey, I can do it's like I make the rules. I don't have a cartoon to tell me what to do, and all that stuff. And that's
because you see, when I do my customs there, I like to create a bit of a story there, and sometimes I'll go into you type in a dwarf name generator, and you count all the names. And if you don't like any of those, you just go to the next one and what have you. But indeed, when I'm customizing my new figures out of the Legion builders and what have you, I like to count a bit of a story and a name for them.
Yeah.
World building. Yeah, you like to create your own world building. Yeah.
There's not much nowadays that will let us do that like when we were kids. Everything's too like Optimus Prime will always be Optimus Prime, Duke will always be Duke, Leonardo, Donatello, they'll always be them. But when you get a Mythic Legions barbarian builder or a Templar figure, that could be whatever you want it to be. And the best thing is if you got 2 of them, you could pop and swap them and turn them into stuff that they weren't even meant to be. And you're like, I'm good. I love it. So on that level alone, it's like, it's feeding into something I didn't know I needed as an adult until I started getting into this stuff. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that has happened more so in the last few years with toys than I've ever seen is, again, this Renaissance age. We're seeing a lot of these indie guys come up, start these new IPs, and they are magic. Like, just pure magic, because it is whatever you want it to be. And, you mentioned Defenders of Eden, Armies of Ashmore. That Kickstarter's starting real soon. As a matter of fact, they're going to be our guests on
Animal Warriors there in the Kingdom.
That's awesome.
But
AWOC's another good one. Yep.
Armies of Ashmore is going to be our guest this week on Toy Frenzy. So definitely make sure, even if you don't catch the episode live, catch the replay, because we're going to be chatting them up about it. And I love the fact that we have a platform to speak about these things. Because all I ever really hear right now is mostly complaints about the bigger companies.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I like to praise them where I give it to them. I mean, like I say, as much as I can complain about distribution, stuff like that with Masters of the Universe, you know what? I got a sticker as a toy, and that's amazing. So we need to praise their successes, not just rip them for, things that we wish they could do better.
They could do, indeed.
Well,
but there's very little that I can say is bad about a lot of these new startups that are coming.
The thing, like when we were kids, we were learning about these things and we were having fun getting to know who these characters were, having fun playing with the toys, and then that became our nostalgia now in our 40s. And it's like, okay, nostalgia is great. Nostalgia, like I love it. I mean, there's reasons you listen to certain songs from your childhood, certain movies again, and all that stuff. But it's like there is that tether to no, it can't be this, it can't be that at the same time. And the beauty of here we are in our 40s, 50s, whatever, and you get so much of the responsibility of life, you get so much of the daily grind, and you're dealing with all this other crap. The fact that you get toy lines now, if you're interested in toys, that it's a blank slate for the first time, it's freaking amazing. It's so cool to go, I don't know all the answers anymore, and I'm really excited for this finally.
That's why. So I've had to I assumed because I'm relatively new to YouTube, right? The channel's been like a year and a half or something like that, and I assumed that people thought like that, like, oh, I want something fresh, or I buy for imagination. And then I started, jumping on other people's channels and like, no, this goes here and never will it mix. And this is Duke and he has to have his things. I'm like, dude, I don't have a single Duke that's a whole Duke anymore. Like they're all blown to pieces and different, like, you'll find Duke heads in different bodies. They're all part swapped. And then Joy Toy came out and I was like, there's no baggage behind Joy Toy other than the non-IP licensed Warhammer stuff, right? I was like, what are these sci-fi guys? Instantly, like overnight, I was like, I think I'm going to sell all my G.I. Joes because I don't want all these Snake Eyes. I was like, I can have this stuff. And like, yeah, I actually was on Toy Connections channel and I was like, yeah, man, I sold all those or my original He-Mans when I was a kid because I was buying the classics at the time. And I was like, why do we need these rubber band legged weirdos who are faded? Like that's trash. These are better versions of the toy as a kid. But then Mythic Legions came out and I looked at my classics. I'm like, you were just trying to fill what this is here. And so I started selling those. So I'm like, this is what I've been chasing, right? So, and I still love a lot of like we bought Too Bad the other day, and he's not too iconic, but he's an awesome bounty hunter in our world for the boys and I.
Sure.
But you're right. There's certain stuff that comes in there, and you're like, I can't unsee Optimus Prime's face no matter how hard I try. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely am not a nostalgia buyer. It's definitely an imagination spur. So I don't have the completionist motivation, which is scary, for people who are trying to get every last vintage whatever variant. But instead, I have this other scariness of like there is no limit. There's no coolness,
I see where you're coming from, and the way that I was since I got into it again back, like I really got into it in 2016. And that was when my son was born, and it was the whole, like, I already have a daughter, and then when my son came along, it was like, okay, this is compounding how much responsibility I feel in my life. So all of a sudden I'm like, I need something to feel good about, and I started getting the classics really hardcore then. And for me, it was mostly, I want the best version of something I love that I can possibly get, and classics to me still is that version for Masters, with Mondo being a very close second now since I've gotten my first Mondo figure. But for me, it's more, I want the stuff that I never could get when I was a kid. It's not about the nostalgia. I don't need the Super 7 turtles. I'd rather have the giant NECA turtles from the movie on my shelf because those meant something, because that movie meant something to me, versus, like there is a nostalgia to it, but it's like, you look at those and you see all that detail and you see how exact they are to the movie, and you're just like, I'm so glad that I can appreciate this in my adulthood. I would have messed these up as a kid. So it's like, I'm so glad they're on my shelf and they're in such good condition and everything. But it's way more about, give me the things that represent what I love in the best quality that I can get for the money that I have. And that's been my driving point ever since.
Well, that's why I sold all my Power and Force 2 Star Wars figures. I had all them still mint in box, and then they're loose counterparts. But then I noticed the Black Series coming along there, and they looked nice and elegant in their boxes. So I ended up selling up all those ones and getting into the Black Series there. Bit better looking representations, mind you, also.
I think I'm a little bit of everything. Like Sean and I grew up. We met when we were 8, and I'd go over to his house for the weekend, and we'd be playing Transformers, but we'd like set up all the Star Wars figures or GI Joes, whatever was around, to be like the people, to have that whole mix of everything. And as a kid, you can play with that and do that. And as an adult, like you were saying, like people try to tell you no, this and that. And it's like, you know what? I rearranged my shelf. So I have got Star Wars across the front of like my TV shelf, but right behind them, I have my Marvel Legends, my McFarlane DC, all this stuff. So it's just kind of like the whole nostalgia. Man, I put a weird spin on that.
Just embracer it.
It's embracing.
It's about the nostalgia, dear.
Legion's class recess part 2, the embracer, and it's just like, you know what, I don't care if Sauron the pterodactyl dinosaur man is flying out between 2 sentinels I made out of my Iron Man toys with like Darth Vader in the middle down below. Like I was like, to just let that be the nostalgia for what
you're happier for it. Yeah, you're happier for it, right?
It's more fun seeing them kind of all together instead of just isolated out. And it's like, I got Indiana Jones right next to Neytiri and Jake Sully and Captain Carter right in the middle. It's like it's all over the place now.
I want to read that fan fiction about Darth Vader, Sauron, and the Sentinels showing up. That'd be freaking nuts.
Just watch the Lego movie, right?
Yeah,
Batman Lego movie, right?
Basically.
Some of my favorite I know we're pushing past 2 hours here. Some of my favorite collectors are the people who build the huge stations, right? So like Empire Toy Works, for example, it's just a world where they're just like, hey, I'm going to build like that world building. I've had a lot of those guys come onto my channel recently because I just love hear exactly what you described. They're just like, man, Spider-Man can show up in my space station. It's fine because I have a gimmick, like there's a gimmick starport that allows these things to port in. And I've released that burden of people saying no, and they just have so much fun. He's like, I want dinosaurs in space, so I'm going to have space dinos. And he buys Jurassic Park, puts them on there. I was like, guys, I love having them on there to hear, just like Jeff was just describing, and Shawn too. Like, hey, this is how I mix it up. I'm just like, this is good. Or even customizing it. Even though there's a Hudson for sale, you're making your own Hudson, which is awesome, right? Like they just released one. I'm just like, this is great, man.
And like 10 years ago, Shawn and I were hanging out. We were trying to come up with comic ideas. He had his he was working on. I was trying to find something fun and light to get into that I could do self-publish and do for the Comic-Con that year. And I came up with my favorite character of all. My Meep.
Okay.
3-eyed space bunny. It's my logo. It's my icon.
Yeah.
And last year I became friends, but he's part of my comic. And essentially the whole initial premise was we were talking, I was bouncing ideas off of Shawn. I was like, how do we get the stuff we love into our world? So we're like normal, ordinary people get to interact with He-Man or the Transformers without being the actual IP. And eventually I came up with like Reverse Narnia, where they come through the guy's sock drawer and he's just like this frustrated college student trying to figure his life out. And like suddenly there's a medieval knight who's on a chivalry quest of some sort that doesn't understand the modern world, and he's got to deal with this guy. And so I was like, all right, I've got that Meep now. And now that I have a physical one, I'm like, now my toys can go anywhere because I have that device for my shelves.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like your totem to remind you to allow yourself to like, oh yeah, this is here, this physically exists. So therefore, that's awesome.
See, sometimes if you ever watch Hebrew there, he will sometimes say, because he never had, say, a He-Man or something initially. So he had, say, Cyclone, perhaps, and that was his He-Man. And
right. Absolutely. I mean, they're your toys. Play with them any way you want. It's part of it. Enjoy what you have. And, Ryan Dole says it all the time. Don't let anybody yuck your yum. And that sticks with me nonstop because I'm not going to tone down what I'm doing because somebody else doesn't agree with it. That's on them. That's not my problem. I'm enjoying what I'm doing over here and having fun with what I'm collecting.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yes.
Well, guys, I think this is probably a good part to cut it off because we've gone for over 2 hours on a Monday night. Didn't see that one coming.
Oh, I
But-
did.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I actually wanted the game to go on longer at the end there, but
I mean,
it's okay. We'll put this together again so we can do it. We'll make sure that Brick will have time to be able to jump in as well. And, you know, we're really just going to have some fun playing this game and playing with our toys. And we're going to have everybody else kind of join in the chat and have fun. And, you know,
Ooh, let Brick be a Daith that you brought in at the end there.
I've got Brick. He's right here. He's got
Brick was here the whole time.
He's a mimic.
Yeah.
He's got like a +5 to defense. You
Yeah.
know, he's holding up the team. We need
Super
that rest.
stealthy.
He's got us. We're just leaning on him.
He's the
Somebody-
wall we can all lean on. Yep.
Somebody next time's just going to grab
In
him
my
and just
case, I
smash
can lean
people.
on, you know.
Yep, we got either Shawn or Eldor is going to pick him up and hit somebody with him. Jesse's going to be vaulting over him.
Yep.
Another brick in the wall. There we go.
Guys, thanks so much for having me on. Thanks for letting me try that game out. I'm glad you guys had fun.
No, that was great.
Yeah, I'd love to come on anytime. You guys, maybe we'll do another one here, and then I drag you all over to mine, so it's like a back and forth kind of thing. You can come over to my channel and play too. So yeah, great meeting you all. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting
Pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Well, everybody, it has been fun. Thank you for joining us for Recess.